Yeah. The only reason I keep thinking about it is because we're watching The Middle on Amazon / IMDb TV. So I see commercials every once in a while with the AT&T girl in it. And I was like, that was supposed to be Squirrel Girl. So I'm reminded about Squirrel Girl like at least 3 times a day.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're breaking down DC's Fandome announcement.
Fandome.
Yeah, and what we tried, we kind of talked about last week, and then they announced it, so I didn't know we were ahead of the game, but we got some details on what you can expect this year. Zack Snyder's Justice League gives us a good teaser.
Oh, Zack Snyder. Is he still doing it from that weird social media account that no one has anymore? Like, was it Vero, Vivin or something?
I think it's Vero, but I think this one came from Jason Momoa, who probably has more followers, probably more people who like him. It's a good week for Marvel's video games, if you're into that kind of stuff and more.
And video games in general. Big release this week that I'll be talking about a little bit in the Quaran-stream corner.
Yeah, I mean, we got some stuff going on in the Quaran-stream corner, but Mike, what have you been up to this week? We haven't really talked a lot this week, I feel like. It's been one of those, like, I don't know, Happy Father's Day first and foremost, any dads listening. I want to get that out of the way, but I feel like it's been one of those weeks where I just don't know what day it is yet. And
oh man, I know the feeling. Like I don't want to say necessarily I was jealous of all the fathers this week, but I had some 2 days in a row with like really bad night's sleep, unexplainable. Don't know why. Didn't eat, drink anything different. Nothing really happened with the change in my schedule, but I was like, this is how fathers feel. This is how people feel with like brand new babies. They feel exhausted. They don't know why they're so tired, but they still have to make it up. They still have to make it through the day and go out and go about and get shit done. So I finally had like a really good solid night's sleep like last night. So like I'm like primed today. Like today, Sunday, this is my day. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jam. Ready to get stuff done, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready to get this done as well. It's like 6 o'clock here. I'm ready for dinner. Well, I didn't realize it until we just started. I'm like, you know how we start recording and sometimes I'm like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. Or, man, I'm hungry. One of the two. It always happens when we start recording, but that's cool. That's
primal.
Cool.
These are primal instincts, Chris.
Yeah. So this week, it's not on our notes here, but I bought, my house now has 2 Nintendo Switches. We bought a secondary one because my wife and I were both playing it. She wanted to play Animal Crossing, which is taking over the nation. You know, and me, the new Pokemon games had their first DLC drop this week. So I was like, well, we're not going to fight over this. We're just going to get another one. This is going to be the easiest way to keep this marriage happy. But in that meantime, so while we were playing games, I actually got to sit down and put more things on TV than I normally would on a weeknight. And so we're going to kick off the Quaran-stream corner with me, who has a bigger list than Mike for once.
All right, hold on. Let me pull up the appropriate beanbag chair for you. I'm going to pull it on up to the corner so you can sit down. You really got to set the mood for the Quaran-stream corner. You know, I don't know if I should turn a lamp on or I should turn a lamp down. It depends what kind of mood that you want to set. What kind of
what color lights you want? I can change the light color.
Yeah, I'm talking to the colored light master. I mean, what are you throwing in the air fryer before you get this Quaran-stream corner going?
Our kitchen's not in a way to do that. We can't use the air fryer yet, so we've been grilling all week. But I'm going to start off. Last week, like I said, I finished up Prop Culture, and one of the episodes was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And so this week I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Hey.
And looking at knowing how they made this movie and with like physical like jokes and then animated over it is wild to go back and watch, because you're like, that's real, and some animator had to get creative on how to solve it and like cover these things going on. Like an example is like when Roger Rabbit spits water out. It's real water, but it looks fake, and all this other fun stuff. So I think that was a good time to watch. I think I enjoyed it. Maybe I mentioned it last week. Did I mention this last week?
No. Okay,
because someone was talking about wanting to watch the R-rated or the original version, where they're like, you can see Jessica Rabbit's underwear. I'm like, no, you can't. It was just drawing. And then the first movie I actually told you to watch. I watched this week is probably the worst movie on this list. Is Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. George Clooney at his finest, right?
Yeah, George Clooney's finest. This is prime Batman. This is peak Batman material, where they're fighting over Uma Thurman because she's got pheromones from plants. So have you ever seen this?
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't seen it, especially if you're around our age? This was basically a Batman movie made for children around our age. So when I went to the movie theater, I was having a great time. I was like, oh man, look at this, Mr. Freeze, can't wait to have that toy.
Toys.
There's a Burger King right next to this movie theater. I'm about to leave here, go get a kids meal, and there's going to be a Batman toy in it. Well, I mean, it was firing on all cylinders.
Right, well, exactly, and this is, the most people, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger making the worst ice jokes all around. Actually, you forget Bane is in this movie. If you don't remember that, he is powered by Venom, which is they actually call it a super soldier serum in this movie at some point. So if you want a super soldier formula that isn't Captain America, you can go watch this one. And I forgot they turned him green. So.
Yeah, I always remembered Bane in that movie never, to me, looked particularly muscular. He always just looked puffy. He looked like he was a man that was inflated. So, and I think that added just a weirdness to it as well. It's just like, I don't know if Batman should be scared of Bane or just pop him with like something sharp, throw a batarang at him.
Well, that's the effect. It's a skinny guy and he just swells up to Bane's size. So you're like, oh, he's got to kick his pipe loose on the back of his head. No, he's a regular dude again. It was not. There's something to put on in the background because I'm like, oh, this is horrible. This is awful Batman. But then I switched gears, and the next day I gotta watch. Probably this is my favorite Michael Bay movie. This is a guilty pleasure movie, Mike. The Island.
I only know this movie in trailer form. I distinctly remember trailers for this film, but never seen it.
Yeah, so this is Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, and in this movie, spoiler alert, but this came out like 2004 or 5. I think it came out the first year I was in college, so I remember owning it. They're in it feels very Matrixy here. They're in an underground bunker, and you win the lottery. Kind of like the opposite of the Hunger Games. You want to win the lottery to go to the island instead of getting picked. So the island is actually, these are clones of people. And they harvest their organs. Like, if you get sick and need a liver, you have a clone grown, and they live their life. They're sped up growth, but then, like, when you need it, they kill that clone and take the body part out of them. And it's got Steve Buscemi in it, and Sean Bean in it. It's really fun.
I didn't know Steve Buscemi was in. Maybe I need to check this out.
Yeah.
It sounds like a teen dystopian novel, but with adults instead of teens.
Yeah, it's like. You remember when they made a bunch of like the Repo Men movies where like body organs are a thing? Like this is that era, like kind of kicked out of like body organs. Or it costs money. You need that for your plastic surgery, and then also like the Matrix is like you're not really born; you're just kind of brought to life, and you live in this fake world. So it's interesting. I have a good time watching it. The next one, I actually continue my James Bond journey with Tomorrow Never Dies, which is the second film. Pierce Brosnan one. I didn't care for it as much.
Is this the one where the GPS is the crux,
yes,
or is this the
yes.
Okay? I always found that novel, just going back and rewatching it, it's just like, man, that's in everyone's phone now.
They love the letters GPS in this movie. It was such a big thing at the time.
Wasn't it housed in like a red box or something like that?
Well,
I feel like I remember the red box.
This red box about the size of an Apple Watch box could throw off GPS coordinates of stuff. But what's interesting is, this was like they were trying to incite a war between China and America, right? By having a stealth boat and shoot missiles at America and China.
This was the stealth boat. I get confused because there's like another Pierce Brosnan one where like the news is the enemy. This guy that has like
that's
fake
the same
news.
one.
That's the same one. Oh
yeah. So the news guy wants to start the war so he can be in control of the world's media.
Oh man, I conflate all the Pierce Brosnan stuff in my head, I guess.
Yeah. So, which is crazy because this ties directly. This is the same plot of this next movie, X-Men First Class. Because in this movie, I turned on because I saw it was on HBO Max. They, at the end of it, like the Kevin Bacon character wants to start a war between Russia and America by using his stealth submarine to shoot missiles at each one and cause them to fight in the water. Like there's a tense standoff, and everyone's like, "No, don't do anything." And then the same thing happened in the Pierce Brosnan movie. I'm like, this is crazy. Why would I choose these two movies at the same time?
It's a little sad and also depressing that Russia will continue to be our enemies in video games and movies moving forward, and China will never be slotted back in because China has movie theaters and we want our movies to screen over there. So if I was Putin, I would stop worrying about killing all of these journalists that talk bad about you, or trying to annex Crimea and all the other awful things that you're doing and interfering with other people's elections, and just build more movie theaters, and then maybe Hollywood will bend to your box office dollars.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen at all, but I find that pretty funny that nope, Russian can still safely be the bad guy.
Oh yeah, exactly. You pick a time frame. I think from World War II on, it's not Germany, it's Russia. So
yeah.
Pretty easy there, except for the Brosnan movie. It was China. It was definitely China in that one. But X-Men First Class is I just want to point out, it's a good movie. It's like 95% really, really awesome, and like 5% very bottom of the barrel kind of scraping kind of deal. Because there's a couple moments and I'm like, no, stop it. But I really still enjoy watching that. And the last thing is, if you've not watched it yet, the Mandalorian documentary has wrapped up this week, the last episode. Fun fact, the last episode's a double length. It's like a 40-minute episode. But the one before that, episode 7, is about the music of the show.
Yeah, I was checking in on it because I'm a couple episodes behind, and I was trying to see, what the future episodes were. And I saw the most recent one when I looked was the score. So I was going to ask you, what's the last one focus on?
The last one is focused on, it's like legacy. Like, where does this fit into Star Wars? Why were some of the, there's so many homages to the original Star Wars in this and stuff like that. Where does it go? What did it why did they make the decisions in this movie or the show that they did? And it's really good. They show a lot of side by sides, parallels. Dave Filoni, kind of talking about kind of his stuff that they brought into it. And he mentioned how the Mandalorian is essentially you went to the store to buy Star Wars toys. All of the main good ones were sold out, except you got your hands on a Boba Fett toy and a bunch of B characters.
Yeah,
so you painted.
I like that.
So you painted your Boba Fett silver to make him really cool and stand out, and then that's how they built the Mandalorian story. It was we got all these B characters and C characters and stuff, and how some of the stuff was from the Christmas special or the Ewok movie, but they made it in this that made it feel kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, I know it wasn't really a huge news item, and I talk about this on the show all the time about how actors don't really know anything about anything until they're actually on set or reading a script. But Ewan McGregor seems to be pretty confident that the Obi-Wan show will be using the same technology that the Mandalorian used when they get around to making the whatever the Obi-Wan series is called.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just a good educated guess in general, but it seems like we'll be seeing more of this cool technology even outside of Mandalorian.
I'm trying to think. One of the directors of The Mandalorian is the showrunner, Deborah Chow. She's the showrunner for Obi-Wan, so she's going from The Mandalorian to the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, I can't imagine why she wouldn't want to carry it over. I mean, I remember she talked very, very highly of the tech.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she just had a lot of the action scenes in the show too, so I feel really confident in her action scene directing. But the music one, I will tell you, the guy who did it, Ludwig Göransson, I'm probably butchering that name, he did the composition for Black Panther as well.
Oh, great.
And he was the college roommate of the director of Black Panther. Oh my gosh, I just had it and lost it. Ryan Coogler. So he did the Ryan Coogler films, Fruitvale Station, Creed. There was one in there, other one with Michael B. Jordan. But he's done the composition for all those and then did this one. And his whole premise and he starts the episode with this for The Mandalorian is he got the job and he ordered a bunch of recorders. the school recorders, and that's how he started writing.
Yeah, I can hear it now that you say it. I hear it in that score.
And they show in this the first time he took the theme to John and Dave, because they were filming on set, and he played it for them off his phone for the first time. So that reaction is in this episode, and it's really, really cool.
Oh, that's great. And this is just another, just goes to show you, if you're an introverted person, just make sure you tie yourself to a really successful roommate, because this is how you make it in the world. Hopefully your roommate ends up being very successful, and you can not ride the coattails, but they can open you up to more opportunities.
And you could not be more opposite of John Williams with this guy. He is very out there and kind of I want to say alternative is a way to look at it, and it's really fun. Right. So I recommend watching on those I'd watch that, get a whole series watch if you get a chance. So I want to throw that in there. But Mike, I mean, I don't mean to overshadow the Quaran-stream corner because this is your corner. I'm just borrowing it for this show, this episode. So lay it on me because I only know one of these items on your list. All right, it's not the first three.
Well, I'll slouch down into my beanbag chair, and I'll start it off kind of light with two. I guess I'll call them romantic dramedy series, one on Netflix and one on Hulu. The first one is called Never Have I Ever from Mindy Kaling, which you may remember, who is Kelly from The Office and also moved on to do a bunch of other stuff. She's
the Mindy Show, right?
Yeah, Mindy Project.
Yeah.
She's extremely successful now, so this is not her first TV show that she's ever had. But she created this for Netflix, and it's about an Indian American girl who is a sophomore in high school, and it's just kind of like, oh, how do you deal with kind of the tragedy of losing somebody in your family, but also trying to get with the cutest, most popular boy at high school. So this is a little bit of I would say, escapism for me and my wife. Just, watch something kind of fun back when kids used to go to school, before the pandemic, and back when also we were in high school. So it's kind of fun getting exposed to another culture through television. I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff where Indians are the main stars or actors in anything. So that was kind of fun to watch. And it kind of starts off, I would say, as like a solid B+, and then by the end of the series or the season gets really strong. So it's fun, it's funny, and the main actress, the Indian girl, is really crass and can get pretty funny. So I'd recommend Never Have I Ever. It's relatively recent to Netflix. It didn't just drop this week, but I think within the last couple weeks it came out. But then this week, a show came out on Hulu called Love, Victor, which this is just kind of it was a good series. I'd recommend it, but also it was just kind of interesting because you might not know it is a sequel series to a film that came out, I want to say, in 2018 called Love, Simon. Yes. Which was the directorial feature debut of Greg Berlanti, who we all know for creating the Arrowverse and making all these superhero shows on the CW. So he adapted a book called Love, Simon for the screen back in 2018, I believe. And it was a solid movie. It was nice. And it was a fun story about like a high school kid who kind of comes out of the closet and kind of becomes his own person, and with the help of his friends and family. And a lot of people praised it for kind of being a story about a gay kid where there's not like a bunch of tragedy involved, which it seems a lot of these stories revolve around that, which is not necessarily saying it's not accurate, but just kind of nice to have like just a break where you can just watch a story about a kid just being a kid. You don't have to worry about all of this tragedy swirling around his coming out. So anyway, the only reason I bring it up, it was a book, and then it was a standalone movie, but then it was announced that it was going to be adapted into a series for Disney Plus, and we were like, oh, well, this is kind of strange. This is the first time I've ever seen like a movie kind of adapted into a series that's also a sequel. So Love, Victor follows a brand new character who coincidentally goes to the same high school that Simon went to, but I believe it's 4 years later. So it's kind of fun to watch this show knowing that the legacy of Simon, of what he did in his movie, follows through with this high school. So every once in a while, the character like reaches out to Simon like on Instagram DMs and they chat. So I just thought this was a really interesting exploration and experiment of kind of how you take a movie that's not like a superhero or a franchise film or something science fiction nerdy based and actually continue it as a series, because I just hadn't seen that before. So if you're also just looking for some more good family content, it's about this Puerto Rican family that moves to Atlanta from Texas. So those are two shows that I'd recommend, and they're also kind of ironically, both of the main characters are also sophomores in high school, so I guess that's just a really good place to start off your high school drama stories right in the sophomore year. You get all the freshman stuff out of the way. So Never Have I Ever and Love, Victor. Go get some quality high school content, if you will. But to follow that up, to kind of cleanse your palate, if you will, head on over to Hulu and watch Crawl, which is a movie that came out last year about a father and daughter that get trapped in their house during a hurricane, and then a bunch of alligators.
The alligator movie. Yay.
Yeah, this was I was pretty excited to see this added to Hulu because this trailer popped up on like everything I watched last year in the theaters. Like I kept seeing this movie about this girl gets trapped in a house with alligators. Like this premise seems awesome. We got to watch this movie. So we watched it last night, and I won't really spoil too much, but it was pretty fun. It's exactly what you expect it's going to be. They do this little nod at the very beginning of the movie that you got to make sure you don't miss, because the movie becomes a little unbelievable as you move through it if you don't see this. But at the very beginning, when the character is driving down the highway going towards her house, she drives past like a sign for an alligator farm. So that's very important nod to like, oh, why are there so many alligators in this movie? It's because the hurricane is supposed to kind of like, you're supposed to assume that these alligators get out and then havoc breaks loose. I was a little let down by the ending, but the movie's not really so much about how it ends. It's more of kind of the ride you get to go on. So if you're just looking for some kind of fun kind of animal monster movie, it feels a little reminiscent of Jaws. Kind of it's set up almost like a slasher film a little bit, but with an alligator. So I would say it's a pretty fun time. I mean, I wouldn't run through the streets singing its praises, but it's fun. And if you already have Hulu, it's free and ready to go.
It's already there, yeah.
So that's on Hulu.
So is it called Crawl because it's in a crawl space of the house?
I think that's kind of the fun thing. Yeah, it does start in a crawl space, and then also there's a lot of crawling that's happening in the movie from the human characters and from the alligator characters. So I was like, yeah, Crawl. That's a pretty good title.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that seems about right.
But
and the last thing here is probably the most controversial thing on this list.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's even controversial. This is I think it's such a big piece of gaming media. Just when something big comes out like this, that's a sequel to something that was so like legendary in video games, like everyone's got their own hot takes, and that's Last of Us Part 2. And I'll go ahead and say no spoilers here because I haven't even finished the game. I'm just at the phrase of the very beginning of this game because I like to take my time. I like to set a pace for this because this game's intense. There's a lot of sneaking. There's a lot of infected people that you got to take down. You got to do a lot of planning, and there's tons of looting. You have to explore like every single drawer and every room that you walk into, because if you can find just one extra bullet, that'll just make your life immensely easier. So Last of Us Part 2, I have a friend who's already on a second playthrough. He stayed up all night because out here on the West Coast, if you pre-ordered it, you were allowed to start playing it at 9 p.m. on Thursday. So he went straight through. He played it all in one shot, and he said he had a great time. So I'm not sure what controversy you've been hearing, but I've been hearing some people say that maybe people have inflated the idea of what they thought the game was going to be. But as of right now, I've been having a fun time.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think this is interesting because it's one of those things people have a lot of expectations for good movies having, trilogy or sequels or games having sequels, and how much do people want to put themselves in, or what their expectations are. And it rings to me true if Halo 2 came out today and a lot of people were divided on it, it's ending and stuff like that. Again, I don't know anything about Last of Us 2, so again, it feels like that because people are doing what we call review bombing this online, which is totally not cool. So
yeah,
I wouldn't read any reviews. I wouldn't even look on the scores. I just say if you like it, play it.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. It's really hard for me to comment on it because I'm not about to go look into any of this because I haven't even finished it. This isn't like a movie where you can sit down, take it all in, and then head to the internet. The great thing about me when it came to Last of Us Part 1 is I played the PS4 remastered version after it had already been in the zeitgeist for years and years and years. So I basically went into it with no expectations and no other media, but now I'm going through my timeline and have to scroll really fast by stuff on Twitter so I don't see other people's hot takes. But as of right now, I'm having a great time. The game looks beautiful. The exploration is fun. The creatures are just as creepy as they were last time. My anxiety is through the roof because it's just one of those games, so I'm taking it in pieces. So it'll probably take me a couple weeks to finish it. Hopefully nobody spoils it for me. But the only kind of little bit of nod and tilt I'll give to anybody is this game at the very beginning motivates you for sure. I am very motivated to play the game now. I want to see the story come to the conclusion. I have a lot of passion behind my controller right now, so I'm looking forward to playing it, playing more today.
I was going to buy the first version digitally during the PlayStation sale, but I got online like an hour after it ended to buy it because I was like, I'll do it for $10. And then I was like, oh, it's $20. I can't do it now. So maybe if I find it cheap at a GameStop or something, or a used game store, I'll pick it up. But
yeah, well,
there we
take
go.
A look. As far as I know, all of the critics who got early access to the game like a week ago, giving it 10 out of 10, 100%, 4.5 at worst. So it's fun. I don't know what people are talking about. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, I think, again, it's one of those things you can never predict. So let's jump into the news then. First things first, we're going to get these sad bits out of the way. My cancellations, more of them, always. Officially canceled the Star Wars Celebration for this year. And the worst part is it's not returning next year. It's coming back in 2022. Is it because people need a Star Wars break? I don't know. Maybe they'll have something good to announce in 2022 because I believe, and I'm going to have to pull it up here while we're talking, on the Superhero Slate movie release calendar, I believe a Star Wars movie is 2022. Yeah, December 2022. So if they're going to give us a trailer in early 2022, Star Wars Celebration would be a good time to give us some full details. So we're going to get a break from Star Wars so people can quit chomping at the bit over all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, or at least theatrical Star Wars. It seems like the series are still more than ready to move forward. So
yeah, and who knows, we may not even have this Mandalorian supposed spin-offs for another year based on production right now. So we'll see if any of this changed. But anyone hoping to go to Star Wars Celebration, not just this year but next, sorry, you got to wait a little longer. Also, I just read the Emerald City Comic-Con, which I believe is in the fall, is canceled. Maybe not. I don't know when Emerald City. I thought it was in the spring, but I could be wrong.
I thought Emerald City Comic-Con was earlier this year, and it got canceled, but they just left it up in the air as a postponement. But I think maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it is, because it was supposed to be August 21st to the 23rd, and it is not happening now. So it looks like it'll be back again next year, hopefully. Again, I was talking to someone last weekend about C2E2, and I'm like, well, I've already got my hotel room. Hopefully, it was the last convention of this year, so hopefully next year it'll be the first one.
Yeah, I had concert tickets to a concert in July, and that has been postponed now as well. So yeah, just expect the year of calendar year 2020. It's canceled. Everything's canceled. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. That brings us to our next point. Is I almost gave up completely on movie theaters this year, Mike. Almost completely gave up because AMC Theaters said they're opening back up partial capacity, all these rules and stuff in July, and hoping to be back by full in November. However, they were originally going to open without any mask requirements, and they were like, well, we talked to doctors and they said they don't need masks. I'm like, I don't believe you one goddamn bit.
Nope.
So and it's not, I already have problems with the theaters before this whole thing. Like, I wish people wore masks when we were in there to not hear them chewing or talking or anything like that, right? Like, give them a mask. It's going to make my experience that much better. Beforehand, people can't eat those smelly jalapeno slices that Mike truly hates. So after like 24 hours of complete backlash, and I was on the thing, I even told my wife, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable going there even if they open up in this requirement. They have reversed that after talking to a doctor from Harvard this time, who said who originally, he was like, yeah, I told them to put on masks the first time. They will be making mask requirements for all goers, and employees were already in, so all goers. The Regal theater chain and the Alamo Drafthouse chain during this backlash was like, yeah, we're going to open with mask requirements, because they were like, we're not going to go down this route. So I think that's a good decision. I mean, I want people to be safe, whether you believe it or not. Just the mask is easy to wear. Just put it on and have a nice cozy movie going experience if you go. where hopefully everyone else is quiet and you can't hear them chewing.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, this is such a thought exercise, really, when this news dropped earlier this week. It's so funny how things quickly changed. You know, that we were slotted to talk about one thing on the show, but then AMC slotted it differently, so now we have to change course here. But I look at it this way. Even if AMC would have announced they are going to require masks, which is what they should have done because they would have pissed a lot less people off. But I'm still don't feel safe going to the movie theater. Like you just mentioned, people love snacking at the movie theater. They're still definitely going to have the concession stands open. So it's just like, oh, do you think they're really going to pull their mask down every time they eat popcorn and put it back on? No, they're just going to take it off and forget to put it back on to begin with. And then also those people that are just defiant about the whole mask rule anyway, like there's not going to be any enforcement. They'll wear the mask to get in the theater, and then as soon as they sit down, they'll take it off because like we've always complained about for the whole history of movie theaters, like annoying people just gravitate to the theater and they always just do whatever they want to do. And the 16-year-old kid that's paid to work there is not going to come in and force some irate person to either get off their phone, stop talking, or put their mask back on. So it's just like, it sucks the position that movie theaters are in, but just because you're mad and frustrated about it, I mean, there's no real way to fix it. I mean, what are you gonna? I mean, there's no way around it that people are just not. They're just gonna ignore the masks rule.
Yeah. So I mean, I think whatever your take is, I mean, it's people are annoying in movie theaters, and they're just gonna continue to be annoying. So I mean, hopefully, you know, when things are okay to go back up. I mean, I'm hoping to see some changes in movie theaters because, like you said, people who work there, they don't even catch people doing camera versions of these movies. They're going to catch people wearing masks, taking their masks off. So, and not that I expect them to come in and interrupt the movie by yelling at somebody either. But I mean, the movie going experience as a whole is going to change in the next 12 months, and I'm not sure what that looks like yet. So, hopefully we find out because some movies are coming out. And I want to watch them. I want to watch them pretty soon, but we'll see how that goes. In that regard, you know, people are still making movie announcements and stuff like that, giving us details and trailers, and DC Fandome was officially announced as a 24-hour virtual event on August 22nd. And I don't like the name Fandome. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's so weird. It almost seems like a legacy name, like as if this was originally going to be something that people could attend, and it would be in a literal dome. But this just reminds me of when I was in middle school and I was really bad at spelling and I never remembered when I needed to add the E or not add the E. So it just looks like me with a misspelling.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, fandom, DC's Fandome sounds way cooler. Like, you're not really in a dome. I don't think it's going to be a virtual dome either, Mike. It just... I'm barking up the wrong tree here. But they have split it into different verses, if you will. They have the YouVerse, the KidsVerse, the InsiderVerse, the WatchVerse, the FunVerse, and just the Hall of Heroes, which didn't have a verse.
What even is this? This kind of looks like I'm looking at like a theme park map.
You ever watch Inside Out?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, with these floating islands. I'll give them props that the people over there have tried to contextualize this event as like a real thing, you know, to try to be like, okay, this isn't some sort of like weird conference. This is like a thing, you know, where during the day we're going to visit all of these different lands. So I'll give them props for at least being creative for it. But I guess what we're left with is trying to figure out what each of these islands are going to give us, because here at the show, we're just thinking which of these islands is going to give us a brand new debut trailer of something we've never seen before, what's going to give us the first concept art or screenshots of something, you know, and what's going to be an announcement of something we've never heard of before.
Right. And I think InsiderVerse, based on this, has the film reel bridge.
Yes, the film
and
slate.
It's a movie slate.
Yeah.
It looks like studio. So I think InsiderVerse is where we're going to get stuff. KidsVerse, and I don't know what YouVerse is. These all look like Disney parks. If like DC made a theme park, like this would be what I think it would look like.
Yeah, YouVerse just confused me because if it was with the letter U, YouVerse is like AT&T's internet, isn't it? Is that what they call it? YouVerse.
But they own DC, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I guess they could get by the copyright.
Yeah, that's fine. And then the Hall of Heroes. So there's a bunch of stuff here. Comic books. Looks like signings. No one's getting signatures.
Yeah, like I don't know what that. Yeah, why is there a skateboard ramp that takes you to the FunVerse? Like, what is this going to be? Video games? Is there going to be like a DC? I mean, there's a big.
It could be
comic
video games.
book.
It could be video games. So
There's
what
a
we've
big
got
comic
here
book
is a
thing.
list of stuff, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Aquaman, The Batman, Batwoman, Black Adam, Black Lightning, DC Superhero Girls, Legends of Tomorrow, Stargirl, Doom Patrol, The Flash, Harley Quinn, Lucifer, Pennyworth, Shazam, The Snyder Cut. They literally put that in there, even though it says Zack Snyder's Justice League, The Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Teen Titans Go, Titans, Watchmen, Young Justice, Outsiders, and Wonder Woman 84. So there's a lot to take in on this. I think we're going to see this would be a good opportunity for them to release some trailers that they were going to put online anyway, nothing exclusive. But, I mean, I think The Rock said they'll do some Black Adam stuff, but, I mean, do you think they're ever going to make that movie? I don't know if they're ever going to make Black Adam.
I mean, I'm definitely expecting Aquaman stuff because, I mean, it's been a while. we deserve a little bit more Aquaman. But then also I was surprised to see that it looks like the Warner Brothers is doing a little bit of a push, specifically with the Jason Momoa version of Aquaman, because he's in, like, the next season of Fortnite?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't play the game, but I saw the trailer, and it is very much Jason Momoa from head to toe.
It is.
I don't know how you play. Like, when they put these characters in the game, do you get to play as them? So you can play as Jason Momoa? So Jason Momoa is running around with a gun? Like, and he picks off the ground?
Well, technically it's Aquaman, because you get Arthur Curry or Aquaman, but yes, very much so
fun.
he is.
I'm just laughing in my head, imagining like a rocket launcher or a sniper rifle in the hands of like Aquaman. Just seems like he should just have the trident all the time shooting laser beams or something.
He doesn't unlock for like 5 more weeks. But when it comes out, you'll definitely be seeing a lot of those.
Gotcha.
He's got a shirtless version, and then he's got the golden armor version from Aquaman.
Of course. You gotta appeal to the wives out there.
Yeah. Well, there's already been a Batman, Catwoman, Harley Quinn series, and there's the Deadpool, X-Force, and some of the Marvel stuff. So they need the I guess notoriety of these things. So it's cool he's in there. But I mean, I think Aquaman is actually, of all the movies here, the latest to be released on this list, which is crazy. I want some damn Flash news, Mike. Is this going to happen or not? You going to change directors again?
We got to get some news. I mean, Ezra Miller's image has to start getting rehabbed soon because the last time I heard about him, he was choking people. So I don't know if that's been a problem or not, but they got to start testing the waters with that guy a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they just need to pick. Are they going to do Flashpoint or not? Will this tie into the original plans for the Flash in the Snyder Cut or not?
Just like, I have to say it. I say it like every week. Just do Flashpoint. It'll fix all of your problems. It's just so great. No franchise has ever had like this perfect, like just lightning in a bottle way to just fix all of their nonsense. But yeah, do it.
Yeah, just do something. And then
the only real downside is like Flashpoint should honestly really be earned. And they haven't really had the character around long enough.
Yeah, but if they're gonna reset it, this is their one chance to reset everything. They're like, okay, if we want to make this cohesive, we've got one opportunity. We can't Flashpoint and then Flashpoint 2. So, or they could get Superman to run around the world backwards. That worked in one of those movies.
Yeah,
or
if that's believable at all.
Yeah, so yeah, you got that going on. I expect some cool stuff to come out of here. Maybe some Suicide Squad stuff from James Gunn, I think he said. So we'll keep our ears low to the ground on this one and figure out which verse we need to be a part of. Zack Snyder's Justice League gave us our first little teaser this week, our first video teaser of new footage. It shows Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, with a torch looks into some sort of mural of Darkseid. And then it shows Darkseid at the end of it. So
yeah, is that like I'm guessing that's the mother box there in front of him. This is actually the first time I'm seeing it. We're watching it live right now. Wonder Woman's got a torch. She's looking at the mural of Darkseid. Oh, but I have seen this screenshot that Zack Snyder shared. Okay, so that's where it came from. Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's a Lex Luthor played by Jesse Eisenberg's voiceover. I think that's from the movie though, about the bells ringing and everything. So, and I was thinking about it this week, and you know what, Zack Snyder's Justice League has that no other director's cut will ever get to have. Probably
what's that?
Is years of actual feedback of people saying this is what I wanted to change in the movie, and this is what should do. Yeah. And he has those to go off of. So when the Snyder hit comes out and it's better than we thought, it's because he was able to take that feedback and mold it into what he did.
I think I might have briefly mentioned that when this news did break. It's just like, how often do you get a chance to get your homework back after in my opinion, you failed the assignment. But then you get to do it all over again with more time. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's going to be better this time around. So that's the only caveat is like, that there's going to be like all of these Snyder stands out there that are going to be like, see, I told you it was good. And it's just like, well, yeah, but
but it wouldn't have been good if it came out when it did.
Yeah, either way, I mean, I'll say it a million times again. I want it to be good. I don't want to watch this movie again and be disappointed.
Right. Well, I'm glad it'll just be entirely different, it looks like, because, if maybe he replaces again Steppenwolf with Darkseid in this movie, possibly.
I mean, the thing is, like, the facts that we were given have already changed. I mean, we were kind of told and hinted at when this news broke that we're not going to be really getting a lot of new stuff. We're just going to be seeing things that were cut, and then like people are saying, oh, there's not going to be Darkseid, but now there literally is going to be Darkseid. We've seen it, so like, what do we believe
they've always
now?
said there was going to be Darkseid. I think. Again, I think it's all... He's not filming new stuff. It's just the movie that Joss did, he reshot all of it. Or at least 3/4 of it. So, I mean, I think we're going to see, again, like you said, the contrast palette turned down. And some other stuff. So, I expect to see a lot more things like this. But he also has, like I said, that few... Like, people wanted Darkseid. Guess what? We're going to put in as much CGI Darkseid as we can. Because guess what? You don't need an actor for this. You just get a CGI person to do it. So... I'm excited to see what comes out of this. I just said we have to wait a whole year to get it, kind of thing. So that's fine. A movie we'll probably not have the opportunity to see in theaters. Mike dropped a new trailer today. The Kingsman, the Kingsman prequel, dropped a trailer today, hot off the presses, and I'm kind of digging it. I like Ray Fiennes is in it, and I was trying to think of the bad guy from Captain America: Civil War who played Baron Strucker or Strucker is in it, and I'm interested to see this movie. Mike, you think you're cool to see the origins of the Kingsman service?
Yeah, I think the thing I pulled the most out of this trailer was this kind of brought in a little of kind of the goofy campiness that the first two Kingsmen and the second Kingsman had a lot more of into the universe. Because when the first trailer dropped for this, it seemed very, very broody, very realistic, very rooted in like World War I.
A bunch of action scenes in that first one.
Yeah, so this one kind of brought some of the goofy characters into it. So that kind of livened things up a little bit, made it put a little bit more pep in my step. I'm glad that this is very much removed from the second one because we know I didn't really enjoy the second one that much. This seems to be a brand new beast. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the additions that they added to it. I'm just curious when I'm going to be able to actually watch the movie.
Yeah, and like you said, you always like the technology of the world of Kingsman, and it seems to be this gadgets. This seems to be like a lot of bare bones gadget, World War I gadgets. Like there's a sword, but that sword also has like 2-shot gun with it, kind of thing. The gun blades and stuff like that. Like seeing those fight scenes as they kind of test these out, seem to be pretty cool. I'm excited to watch this one. I just hope we get an opportunity that they just release everything now in theaters, next year in theaters as well. Whenever everything's cool. But that's coming out supposedly, cross fingers, September 18th, Mike, 2020 for that. This week, I'm going to be tuning into a lot of panels. Not only is Apple's panel this week, but Marvel's Avengers gets a War Table panel this week. A whole live stream dedicated to Marvel's Avengers game coming out in September as well. And it'll be June 24th at 1.
Yeah, I didn't really know what this was. I was like, Chris, what's a war table? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so the war table in the game is like your hub, like it's in the helicarrier, like it's your panel where you go pick your missions, look at the map, all that fun stuff. And this war table thing is going to like give us some of the story plots. I assume they're probably going to announce beta access for this game because they have to have that beforehand. Again, I bought it on PlayStation and Xbox because I'm going to play the hell out of this. And I'm very, very excited to see what they reveal for it. And what I also showed you here, so you get this screenshot here from the game showing the Stark Tech suits that people will be wearing in the game. And what's cool is I've already had these because I have these as Funkos. They already have them as Funkos, especially the Black Widow with her little Iron Man goggles there. Yeah, I mean, I like Thor's little suit there. It looks like he's got some.
He's got disco ball arms.
Yep.
And Kamala Khan, I almost just thought this was Kamala's like normal costume, but just kind of in this Square Enix kind of universe that they're building. But it's kind of got these chrome metallic looks to it. But the subtle shoulder pads are pretty cool. Everyone's looking pretty awesome. I mean, does the Hulk have anything? It looks like we might be seeing some sort of like wrestler belt thing protrusion coming up on him, but.
He's got like his pants are like technologically kind of looking kind of pants. I don't know what they do, but like what do you give? What do you give the guy?
I just find it so funny. It's just like, all right, Stark, I'm gonna pimp out all your stuff, but Hulk, since you only wear pants, I can only deck out your shorts. So
it's also and we saw the gameplay. Like you can get dozens of suits in this game, like probably hundreds, right? So this is only like story related, probably for a little bit. Then you put on your own costume back on. So if you don't like it, that's cool. But it looks like he puts arc reactors on some of the stuff. But I swear, like Kamala's bracers on her arm there, it looks like she only has a bracer on one arm. It looks to be like possibly Asgardian or something.
Oh yeah, it does have those flourishes on it.
Yeah, and the hints of that subtle. It's not strong gold, but it's the gold on like Thor's outfit a little bit. It seems to be highlighting. So it looks like maybe Tony's mixing some of his technology with some Asgardian stuff to really pimp my team, if you will. But I'm excited to see some reveals, some of the suits. We saw it at San Diego last year, and I'm just so excited for a game
Chris
like this.
is stoked, people.
Light my fire with this War Table, June 24th, Wednesday at 1 p.m. Check it out. Marvel is getting a pinball game that you can bring home, Mike. I know you're excited about this. Arcade 1UP finally has dove into the virtual pinball tables, which I've seen at Arcade Expo here locally. It's a video screen in the pinball thing with rumble feedback and force feedback on the button touches, so you can actually feel it. And it'll probably have several pinball tables from the company Zen FX, which is known for their video game pinball tables. It looks kind of simple, like you could probably make this with a TV and a good frame at home. And they say it's going to cost between $500 or $600 for this thing. But if it rumbles and it works like it says it is, and maybe you can mod it and put your own in there, Mike. I don't know. Like I did with my other one.
You can't go out to the bars anymore right now, so this is the next best thing. Looks like you got a little shelf there where you can put your beer right on the front of it, so you're good to go.
Yeah, that'll be the add-on we need to make is the drink holder for these things. But I'm excited. I've used the video pinball tables, and I tell you, if I had that choice to choose between all the pinball tables and the ZenFX library, I would love it. It is fantastic. Like if you could go from like South Park to Marvel to Indiana Jones to whatever you wanted, like that would just be fantastic. Because they're so I mean, Windows 95 had pinball in it, so I mean.
It would be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool if you could go up to a video pinball machine and have all of these different options for different games, but then also have like a hub where it shows you all of the high scores for all of the different games. Yeah. So if you're just like, I'm not that good at pinball, but I could probably play this one because the high score isn't very high, so maybe I can actually get on the leaderboard for that one.
Yeah. When I go to Chicago at C2E2, there's a bar. It might be. I don't think it's called Headquarters. There's one called Headquarters. It's another one that has all these pinball games, and we always play the retro pinball ones like Jurassic Park or Ghostbusters. They have those. Those are so much fun to play.
Old franchises had the best pinball games. Yeah, Simpsons pinball games, anything like that. Always great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you got $500, $600 or looking to get a Christmas gift, put this on your list for later in the year. Or you could probably spend a lot less and get a Nintendo Switch and Pokemon Snap, Mike. They're bringing it back.
Yeah, people were losing it briefly when this was announced.
I like the original Pokemon Snap. They put it on Wii U later. Did you ever play it on 64 when you were younger?
Yeah, I had a weird feelings towards the game because as time moved on, people seemed to have more of an affinity for the game, but I always remembered it as like, there's this brand new Nintendo console and they still won't make like a 3D like next gen like Pokemon game. We're getting these like just dumb weird one-off games where I take pictures of Pokemon or like what is there, like a Pikachu sings one or like a Pikachu dances game.
You talk to the Pikachu.
So one. I always in my brain I always just lump this game in with all of the other bull crap that wasn't really what I wanted, was just more Pokemon. Even Pokemon Stadium wasn't really a Pokemon game. So, but I wasn't really, I had the PlayStations growing up. I didn't have really the Nintendo 64 consoles until later in my life. So I don't have much Pokemon Snap nostalgia, but I always kind of enjoyed going over to other people's houses who had it, because I'd be like, oh, watch this. If I throw this apple at this Pokemon, it'll fall over, and then later on we'll finally get to see Charmander or something like that. Yeah. So I like the little tips and tricks part of it.
Yeah, you go through like the worlds and you do it, and what's cool is like it's kind of like a Rube Goldberg machine sometimes, where you have to trigger different Pokemon to do things to get one at the end. That was rare, and you know what's cool with the Switch is with the gyroscopes, and the Wii U had this one. You could maybe move the console around like a camera.
Yeah, that would be
cool. And take photos with it. Are you familiar with the Nintendo Labo devices?
Yeah, like the cardboard stuff, right?
Yeah, they have one that's a camera. So imagine using that camera feature for this.
That'd be.
You rotate it in and out and zoom and focus.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm. The Labo kits right now, if you're looking for them, they're $20 at GameStop. So, I don't support giving GameStop money unless I have to, but $20 is pretty good for that. And I've got 2 Nintendo Switches now, so you know that's my life. We do that now. But anyway, I'm excited for Pokemon. There's some more Pokemon news announced this week, but I don't think it was that big. So we'll just go on. We'll just say, "Aw, snap," and move on to the next one.
Oh, snap.
Yep. If you haven't got a free trial of Disney Plus, guess what? You're out of luck. No more free trials for Disney Plus, Mike. You got to join for your $7 a month or get the hell out.
Yeah, this ain't no Quibi over here. You got to start paying up front. Oh, man, my Quibi trial ends here in like 2 weeks maybe, and I am ready to cancel.
Oh yeah, has it been 3 months?
Yeah, just
are they still offering stuff? Because I heard they were like in real trouble.
There's just no killer content. I mean, there's nothing I really want to open it up to watch. I mean, I would love to comfortably sit on my couch and watch Reno 911, which I believe is an option now. I think they're letting you AirPlay, but I don't have anything connected to my TV to allow AirPlay, so I'm not going to go through all of these extra steps to watch Quibi stuff on my TV. So right. Yeah, it's just going to die on my phone, I guess.
Man, the disappointment in your voice is just palpable, Mike. Because,
yeah,
you know, you were such a shill for this. I mean, they were. Yeah. You were on board no matter what. You're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sign up for it, and I never did, even though it was free. I'm hoping some of this stuff makes it somewhere. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying my mind couldn't be turned around, but they just never had that killer show. I mean, they didn't necessarily have to have a Mandalorian like peak of stuff, but like nothing has broken through to the zeitgeist. So I don't feel compelled to watch really anything.
Yeah, that's sad. I wish that was better, but I guess it's not, huh? So,
womp womp.
But anyway, Disney Plus. I mean, I think Netflix offers a 1 month free trial still. Hulu is like a week, I think. But Disney Plus for $7, like you obviously don't need a trial. Like you know what you're getting with Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no surprises. There's nothing that's leaving the service. Looking at you, HBO, you're making some shady decisions over there, but I think that's fine. I think most of it is because if you had a free trial and found out they added Fantastic Four from 2015, you'd probably leave right away. Because they put that on this week in America. It's been on around apparently every other country, but America has the X-Men movies. Mm-hmm. But those rights again are with HBO in America. Because again, I watched First Class on there, and as we have discussed, New Mutants will go there first after maybe hitting theaters. So if you're looking to watch Fantastic Four 2015, you can now do that with your already paid service. You don't have to pay for it. You can listen to our review where we just beat that dead horse. Like we just hammered that in the ground. So
I have no desire to rewatch this movie. Maybe just out of pure, just not gluttony. What's it called where you like pain? What's that?
Masochism?
Yeah, maybe just out of pure masochism, I'd watch it again. But this does answer a question that I've kind of had in my brain for a while of how does Disney Plus want to kind of program their streaming service? You know, do they want to like hide this stuff that didn't perform very well so they can make room so they don't have to worry about this narrative or people getting confused on the streaming service of what is Fantastic Four, what is recent? And to me, it just sounds like they just don't don't care. If they have content, they're going to put it out there front and center, because if I open up Disney Plus right now, I see Fantastic Four even without scrolling. It's right in the recently added thing. It's the first tile that's programmed for me. So it's obvious that nobody at Disney is worried about the perception of any of these characters or franchises. So that was a question I had for a while. I thought they might do a little bit more curation. You know, they might add stuff to the service, but, you know, just kind of make it hush hush, still make it available. But it seems like that's not the case. They do not care what your opinion is on the Fantastic Four when they get around to remaking the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think, you know, it's been done. This will be the fourth time once they do it. I don't think that, like, I'm still thinking that's 3-4 years out before we even see it in the MCU. But, you know, it's fine to put it on there. I think the other thing is, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp is leaving Netflix finally, and Infinity War this month in July. So I think we're going to start seeing more Marvel curated playlists under the collections tab once they have all the movies on there. So I'm excited to see the MCU lineup. And I'm hoping some of those TV shows still make it this year. So we'll see how that holds up. But if you're still, you know, interested in Marvel shows, there's still stuff coming to Hulu, Mike. Reminder, this is your half a year, 6 month reminder that MODOK, the animated series, and Hellstrom are still moving forward and are probably done filming and animating, and they will be on Hulu at some point.
I mean, MODOK is probably the only thing that has a chance of getting a season 2, since it's animated and it's kind of its own standalone little beast. But Hellstrom, that is the live action one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right?
Hellstrom yes.
Yeah, and obviously all of this stuff is attached to Jeff Loeb. So if it's live action, that kind of seems a little canon-y, you know, because you're getting real actors. So I don't think that's getting a season 2.
Yeah, I don't think any of these are. I think both of these are one and done. The remnants of Jeff Loeb trying to screw us all over. So, but if you got Hulu, they'll be on there. You can watch them on there. It won't hurt to tune in. So you got that. Oh, that also reminded me. I forget that Hulu is owned by Disney, and that's where they're putting their adult-rated Fox movies. Because I was talking last night watching Robin Hood Men in Tights. That was the other movie I watched, and I was like, "This is obviously 20th Century Fox. Why is this on Hulu?" Oh, yeah. Fox is owned by Disney. Disney puts all their adult stuff on Hulu. So
yeah, it seems like anything that might possibly offend like just a very family-oriented customers that a kid might stumble across on Disney Plus is not going to be on Disney Plus.
No, definitely not. That movie, very relevant today. Very relevant today. Now we're going to jump into a little rumor roundup about some MCU stuff here, Mike, because we don't get a lot of rumors right now. Well, there are some, but like they're not concrete because nothing's actually happening. These are all writing.
Chris is the grand rumor filter. He's like the filter that's keeping the coffee bits out of your morning cup of Joe. So that's what Chris is here for.
Yeah, exactly. Like I go through all this stuff. I try to make sure it doesn't happen. It happens or it doesn't happen. One of the two. And despite my attempts this week, Mike has added this into our notes. But it's fine. We're going to talk about this. And why is this? Why does this matter? Why does this not matter at the same time? So Marvel Studios is trying to backdoor Doctor Doom into us, is the rumor this week. And you're like, Chris, how can they do that? Well, they're going to do it through a character called Lucia von Bardas. And have you ever, before today, Mike, heard of Lucia von Bardas?
I have never heard of her before today, but I did a little research, and it seems like her character has kind of taken maybe different approaches. It seems like at some point in the comic book, she kind of takes over Doctor Doom, like overthrows him.
Well, she takes over Latveria. So the whole point is they're going to set up the nation of Latveria first, with Lucia von Bardas as the leader. Like you said, and then possibly maybe he was the leader before or will come in after.
Yeah, this rumor comes from what is it, MCU Cosmic, and I believe they've had some predictions in the past. Just because this outlet sounds familiar, I can't remember what they quite are at the top of my head, but obviously everything's taken with a grain of salt. But I believe they're kind of stipulating this idea that maybe she's more of an envoy for the country, like she could be like a some sort of a political wheeler or dealer or like an emissary. So that could be just the way to set up the country.
So here's where this starts to fall apart. The entire video game Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 is based on Lucia von Bardas being a senator of the Latvian government.
Okay.
And was a second-hand person to Doom. until she was like blown up and like half turned into a robot, like once, from her remnants of her body. And she is the villain throughout this whole video game. So that video game did not do good. It's not people's favorite Ultimate Alliance by a long shot. So I think if they try to pull it from that and use like her as that role, this will not hold up very well. In that regard, I mean,
in the framing of my mind, this is just kind of a very side character. I don't imagine this character rising to anything more than like a Martin Freeman role, kind of in the Captain America movies or the Civil War movies, where she just seems to me is going to be like some sort of government agent that's just going to introduce us into the idea of Latveria, and then once we get to Doctor Doom, we'll probably either forget all about her or she'll just be ancillary, somebody that whatever the next Black Widow or the next Hawkeye is can fight, because she's not quite as bombastic as Doctor Doom. But I mean, whether it's a rumor or not, whether it's going to pan out, I do like the idea and more kind of little songbirds singing about Doctor Doom, because obviously we want to see this character.
I think he'll come in here. The problem I have with this, I told you this at the start of this, is where the hell do you put this? What movie do you put this in at this point? A lot of people have always said Black Panther 2. I'm like, yeah, of course, because there are nations outside of America that would compete with each other. But I just don't know, like, where would you put Latveria in here? Like, why even put Von Bartis in here? If you're like, Latveria and Doom exists, like, sure, why not? During the snapping is what I'm going to call it. This country rose to power to protect its people, when half the people were gone, so they created Latveria. Do we even need a Von Bartis to introduce Doom? Or like, Doom came about because of the snapping, and he lived through all this.
Well,
is there a reason for this?
It seems like you don't specifically need the character of Von Bartis, but it could be like, in the next Black Panther movie, we need a character that we can briefly bring in that just literally says the name Latveria and then turns around and walks out of the room, just so we can plant the seed. Okay, we have this character now. What should we call it? Call this person? Well, let's just make it this one character that's kind of connected to Doctor Doom. It'll be like a little Easter egg for people that understand his origin more in the comic books. It could honestly be as simple as that. That doesn't mean necessarily the first time we're going to see her, she's going to explode and turn into like a robot. It could just be as something as simple as an Easter egg. But yeah, I think what you said makes sense. If we were going to see it in Black Panther 2, would make a lot of sense, because that's dealing with kind of nation states and countries and like just global politics in general. I mean, Black Panther 2 is going to be all about the country opening up. So what's the antithesis of that? It could be Latveria, a country that's maybe closing down, building all of these walls, really really closing everything up. So I mean, that could be kind of your antithesis to that.
Well, the other reason is one of my series. Remember, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the character Quake. Her origin is in a series called Secret War, which while we were talking, it made me think of this. They actually go into a Latvian undercover thing, but there's a secret plot by the Latvian Prime Minister Von Bartis, who was also again turned into a robot and blown up in that comic series as well. So she's got two histories of doing this whole robot and blowing up thing. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just a small character, but that's just so weird that you don't need to. It seems like a roundabout way. So maybe it's just a writer room rumor. Maybe it's nothing. Again, all they're doing right now is writing and refining. So maybe it could be something that's changed by the time it does come to.
And maybe honestly, we're thinking features right now. Maybe it's not even a movie. Maybe this is just a character that shows up in like Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2 or something like that. So it could just be the start of the seed. But either way, everybody wants to see like a proper on-screen Doctor Doom, especially after just talking about Fan Force Stick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That movie had so much potential in the first half and just bombed in the second half.
Once the wigs come out, you're in the back half of the film.
1 year later, Jesus, that's your point to leave there. Star Wars Squadrons, another video game. EA had the thing this week. They're revealed, and we talked about last week. It was I think it was leaked when we talked last week. And it's a flying space game. You're doing space stuff or flying around the world as Star Wars ships, of course. And it features 5-person squad, so you're 5v5 in the multiplayer, but it includes a single player mode for this. Mike, do you like ship piloting type games at all by chance?
I mean, I've never really dove into them that much, to be honest. I've always gravitated towards really anything else, but I think the biggest downside I've had to flying games in the past is there's never really been much story to them. It's like usually as soon as you boot the game up and you hit start playing, you get like one little cinematic of like the cable being released on the aircraft carrier and the jet flies up, and then all of a sudden you're just getting all of your story from like an intercom coming from the or a speaker, a walkie-talkie coming from inside of the cockpit. But I kind of liked this trailer because it showed a lot of story elements, like a lot of actual characters. So I don't know really how much is going to happen outside of the ships, but it looks like they're really trying to focus it around a story, which I appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. And the Star Wars games have done that a lot lately. I think the first Battlefront did not have one, and that like everyone was very upset by that. So Battlefront 2 had a storyline. We're gonna talk about Episode 1 Racer coming out, this week. Those don't have stories at all. You just jump into the racing game. So it's cool. This is set after Return of the Jedi, which the trailer kind of tells you. So there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. You're playing, remaining Empire people versus stuff. They have 8 ships to choose from. There's so many choices. So you can choose your playstyle, get your squad together. But what I think is the coolest part about this is it's locked to first person mode. So no one has an advantage for playing third party or third person. But with that comes an included VR mode for every game.
That's pretty rad. I'm only a little nervous because the one spaceship flying game I played did make me very motion sick. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe they'll find a way around it with this game. But yeah, that's cool.
Battlefront 1 has a VR X-Wing mission to add on to, which feels a little better than the frantic ones. So if you get a chance to find that game for cheap and do the X-Wing VR mission, I totally recommend it. Because again, I have no depth perception with my right eye being like legally blind, so motion sickness in VR is my first concern all around. Mm-hmm. But I think it was really fun. So if they've built this on VR mode rather than just tacked it on, I think that'd be cool because you're looking in the cockpit the whole time. You see all your sensors there. I just think that'd be cool to look around you while you're flying. Like, that'd be so Star Wars.
All the bits and bobs, man.
Yeah. All I could think about though when this trailer came out was in the Family Guy Star Wars where he's like Red Fox standing by, Big Red standing by, and they go through all the different red things and they're making fun of the Red Squadron. So that's me. October 2nd, 2020. That's right around the corner, Mike. Video games are going to keep us sane through all of this.
Hope something's gotta.
Yep. Like I said, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer drops for the Nintendo Switch and PS4 June 23rd on Tuesday. So they pushed it back, I think, because of something. I think work from home prevented them from doing that. So this week, 23rd Tuesday, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, you can do Episode 1 Racer. I gotta figure out how much that costs though, because I have no idea.
I'm gonna guess $20. That's my guess.
$20. Yeah, I think $19.99 is pretty good. Maybe $15.99 if they're feeling generous, or $14.99. But we'll cross fingers. And lastly, one of my favorite series as a child, Mike, is getting a movie. It had a TV show, a short-lived TV show on Nickelodeon that launched the career of Shawn Ashmore, known as Iceman in the X-Men series, is Animorphs.
Animorphs. Everybody knows those book covers.
Yes, we are prime audience for this, Mike. I believe this was in our things. I read so many of these to get that free personal pan pizza for the book club. I actually owned all the books, and then when I got to high school, I donated them to the elementary library because I'm like, I don't need these anymore. But it's such a rich story, and it's war is hell, and especially for kids, kind of thing. And again, not to touch on, but with was J.K. Rowling being very, very controversial on Twitter. Everyone's like, hey, remember Animorphs? You can read those. Those actually had really good stuff in them. But in this series, teenagers have the ability to transform into animals that they've come into contact with for a short amount of time. They're gifted this ability from aliens, fighting another set of aliens called the Yeerks, who are little slugs that go into your brain and control you. Sounds crazy off the top of my head, but this series is fantastic. I really, really like this series. It's great for, I wouldn't say young adult. This is probably teen range, but like if they can make this like war thing with, how far they've come with animal CGI, look Lion King, this would be really cool to do.
I mean, the most important thing is the transformation. That's what sold all of these books to begin with. Even if you didn't check them out at the library, you just sat down in front of where they were and you just pulled each one out and see, oh, look at this girl slowly turn into a rat. And then you just kind of focus on the in-between stages where you're just like, what did they do? Like, what? Nobody looks like this. It's so weird in the middle. I would imagine give it time and Snapchat will have a filter. I mean, there actually is already filters that turn your face, morph your face into like giraffes and stuff like that. So we're already there. So this is just really funny because you don't necessarily have a blank slate, but you just hire a screenwriter and say you need teenagers that transform into animals and then they're fighting aliens. That's all. You just go out there, write some stuff, bring back some things and pitch it, and we'll just see what sounds the best.
I wouldn't don't change this one bit, Mike. You got to have these blue aliens that have like scorpion-like tails and no mouths. You got to go watch this Nickelodeon series. It was wild. I remember the Flash-based games that Nickelodeon used to make for all their stuff. They had one for this too. But like, I vividly remember reading every book and having such an affinity for these, collecting everything. Remember the book club, or not book club, the book orders? You remember doing book orders?
Yeah, the Scholastics book fair.
This was where I got these from every time, and I loved it so much. So I'm glad that if they do it and they do it right, but again, no one's really filming anything, so they're just pulling stuff out of the air to make into movies. Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought up the personal pan pizza because, like, weirdly enough, like yesterday and today, like Pizza Hut is trending, and it doesn't seem to be for any controversial reasons. It's just people just are reminiscing about the restaurants on the inside, the old kind of like 90s chandeliers and the
low
pizza
light
buffet,
with the red.
And the personal pan pizza and the red plastic cups. So, man, if there could be some sort of like Pizza Hut like nostalgia bomb added with Animorphs, I'd be happy. Man, I really want Pizza Hut right now.
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't like breadsticks in general, but Pizza Hut breadsticks with their marinara sauce are my weakness.
Well, this is what it is. I mean, I'm no culinary expert, but the Pizza Hut breadstick, Chris, I've thought a lot about this because I also really like Pizza Hut breadsticks.
We haven't had a food segment in a while. Lay it on me.
Because Pizza Hut breadsticks, I mean, technically it is bread in stick form, but really it's based on like a focaccia bread kind of recipe. And that's, I would say, almost also related to their pizza crust in general. So you kind of have this focaccia bread base, which no other really fast food Pizza Hut restaurant does. Like Papa John's does more of like kind of like a standard like stick, and I don't know what the hell Domino's
it's like a doughy, like the sticks you get at like Papa John's and Domino's, like they're like even Little Caesars are just like, hey, here's some leftover crust, like, and we've just kind of cooked it for you.
Yeah, but Pizza Hut is like that focaccia bread base, so you're getting like the crispy and the butteriness of it, which you don't really get with other breadsticks. But also, I'm glad you brought out the sauce. I'm positive the sauce is delicious because it's half sugar. You're basically dipping bread into sugar, and that's why it's so good, because you're getting the savory, the salty, the sweet. It's good. It's great if you're lucky enough to be able to shop in a Target without dying from the coronavirus. At least our local Targets have like partnerships with like Pizza Huts. So sometimes when we go to Target, I can just get like 4 breadsticks and just like walk around dipping breadsticks into my grocery cart. So once the world goes back to normal, I look forward to doing that again.
Well, what I enjoy about the breadsticks is there's like 5 in a box, right? But they fit perfectly in the box, side by side. Mm-hmm. They're cooked and cut to fit in this box. They're not just piled in to the box. And the presentation is key on that, because you'll always remember that presentation. The smell of those breadsticks. Because I remember my in-laws a couple months ago, I was over there before all this happened. They were like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I want this in 1 order of breadsticks. And they're like, okay. And they just saw me eat the bread. They're like, we order those for everybody. I'm like, I said I wanted 1 order of breadsticks. Like, that is my food of choice here.
Sometimes sometimes you get really attached to some item, and you have to let everybody know. I know this is usually a communal object, but nobody is having any of these breadsticks. I'm letting everybody know right now. It's kind of like when you really want French fries, and you just have to let everybody know, listen, I've been thinking about these French fries for days, for weeks, for months. I'm going to eat all of them. I'm not sharing any of them. I'm not saying you can't get any, but I'm letting you know right now, all of these are mine.
It's like when you order an appetizer as your main. Like, yes, I understand this is under the shareable menu, but no, get your own.
You did not see me order anything else. I want all of these riblets. You're not getting any of them.
I want the mini corn dogs. That's my dinner, man. You back off.
Whew.
Now I'm hungry. It's like an hour and a half since we started this. I'm still hungry. I gotta go eat. So I'm gonna go do that.
Keep your eyes out for. There's new Reese cups out there in the world. There's some new Kit Kats out there. I haven't seen them quite yet.
What are they? Tell me about them.
Oh man, there's 2 new Reese cups. It's peanut butter lovers and chocolate lovers. So the peanut butter lover Reese cup, they kind of if you imagine a Reese cup. Obviously has the peanut butter core and then the chocolate shell. So just imagine the chocolate shell separated into 2 different layers. The bottom layer is still chocolate, but the top layer is now like a peanut butter flavored white chocolate, I want to say. So you're kind of looking at a Reese cup that has like a top layer that's tan and a bottom layer that's chocolate, and there's still peanut butter on the inside. So when you take a bite, you kind of get extra peanut butter. And then the chocolate lovers is kind of like, it's a Reese cup, but they just shrank the amount of peanut butter that's in it, so you get a little bit more chocolate. So it's kind of, you're just kind of toying with the ratios. So they're both pretty good, but I think my favorite is still the Reese Big Cup. That's my favorite ratio of the peanut butter to chocolate. And then the Kit Kat Duos came out last year, the peanut butter mint flavored one. I mean the chocolate mint flavored ones, which are really, really good. Those are much more widely available now, but apparently earlier in the year they came out with a birthday cake flavor, which I have yet to come across. I haven't seen it anywhere.
Those are everywhere here in the Midwest, and those are fantastic. They're funfetti flavored.
I can't find them anywhere. I desperately want them, and I'm worried now that you've already been seeing them, because I believe those are starting to get phased out for the newest flavor, which is apple pie, which I really want to try.
I will go do my best to get you some of these and mail you some of these Kit Kats, Mike.
You know what? I would appreciate that, but don't spend too much, because they'll eventually make it out here. I think I just need to go into a different store. I'm going to
splurge on Kit Kats at a gas station. Like, let me tell you why.
Oh man, I went through a little bit of a phase where, because they have all these amazing flavors of Kit Kats internationally, and there's like a sampler box out there of Kit Kats where it comes with a dozen different flavors, but it's like $40, and the Kit Kats are really small. So I'm like, do I pull the trigger? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, I remember banana peanut butter Reese's when we were in college. And I don't like chocolate very much, but I was like, I gotta try this. Also, I just pulled up my news to make sure there was any breaking news while we're doing this. The first subject on the news thing is the internet can't stop craving the old school dine-in Pizza Hut experience.
I told you, man, it was nostalgia. It was back when people didn't eat kale, and kale was just used to mechanically separate buffet items at Pizza Hut. And I remember our Pizza Hut, I'm sure they all did, but our Pizza Hut had two arcade games when you walked in. Okay. So you could play arcade games there. You could get your pizza. It was just, all it needed was a McDonald's play place, and you would never get children out of there.
We didn't have the arcade games, but we had a jukebox. I remember dumping money into the jukebox.
Nice.
But also the PlayStation demo discs.
Oh yeah, the demo discs.
Yeah, PlayStation demo discs. So. This is great. If you just go look up Pizza Hut on Twitter, you're gonna have a good time with that. All right, Mike. Now I'm gonna go get some food myself here because it is 7:30 my time, and my kitchen is almost complete. I showed Mike a photo of it. It's almost complete to cook in, so I'm gonna go finish that up. But Mike, if people know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Oh, that's easy. All you got to do is find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. So pop vinyls haven't been shipping out lately, right, because of everything. There are 5 brand new ones sitting on my shelf up here. They are blacklight versions of the heroes from like the 70s comic books. And they glow under like a blue light. Or it's supposed to be black light, but I got a blue light in here. And they are sick. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to whip out those pop picture taking skills again. So I've got my battery pack for my camera. I told you about that, right? That I can run it off of a charger now, or a power outlet. But anyway, I'm going to put some of those up on those things so you can follow me there, or head over to Comic UI. People know all the other stuff we do, all the other episodes. Where can they find us at?
Well, they can go to superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to see all these links and things that we talked about on today's show, it's so easy to get to. Just go to superheroslate.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to podcasts. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and the Gram, and you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. Obviously, like we say every week, we love hearing from you. What are your early Pizza Hut memories or other nostalgia fast food dine-in memories. I am on eBay, Chris, right now trying to look for a Pizza Hut chandelier, and I can't find it anywhere. So maybe they've already all been purchased already. But it's because it's like a mosaic. It says Pizza Hut on it, and looks like there was one on sale at eBay. Because I'm seeing these pictures, but yeah, I don't know how much it went for. But man, the Pizza Hut chandelier. But let us know how you like your breadsticks. Reach out to us. We love our super fans, and if you want to be a super fan of this show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, wear your mask, and eat delicious Pizza Hut breadsticks.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Send us our check, Pizza Hut. Send us our check, Pizza Hut.
Yeah, exactly. You've definitely ruined me. I need to go get those now. So. We'll work on it, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Well, I hope somebody can get some decent pirated versions of that, because I'm not going to be seeing it in September.